Big thank you to NYCFC for giving us the opportunity to get on the field and be a part of interviewing the mayor.
Well, you were on the field. I was busy looking for the donuts chicken sandwich.
Yeah. Priorities. Yeah. The roster selection defining moment of the game was Ledesma getting that start. He obviously gets his man of the match.
My teammates give me confidence every day, so just as long as we keep working together, we can be a big team.
If I had to do a tier list, it'd be Ledesma, Alenich, Sands, and Talles would be my top four in terms of impact.
All right, man. Episode 97, coming off the back of attending the first home game at Citi Field. I think for us, Citi Field has definitely won the hearts of the show, of definitely some of the other media members that we talked to there and of the fans as well. There's something about it being our future home that really does make it special. And then kind of all the things that came along with us. Your first time attending there, my second time.
First time as press.
Right, yeah.
Second time being there.
And we undid the bad vibes of 2019.
Yeah.
And I mean, all around, not only in terms of the result, but I think the experience overall for us was pretty cool. Big thank you to NYCFC for giving us the opportunity to get on the field and be a part of interviewing the mayor. That was...
Well, you were on the field. I was busy looking for the donuts chicken sandwich.
Yeah. Priorities. Yeah, super cool. I mean, that's the first time that I've ever been on the field, and then obviously, in the company of the mayor is a cool experience too.
Despite the booing.
Despite the booing from the Nashville fans who had to be talked to.
Not just Nashville fans.
Oh,
it was a good amount.
Wow.
The stadium.
No, I do have a newfound understanding. I guess you would think you're so subjected to all of the noise in the stadium, but really when you're down there, it's like. I mean, I guess you hear crowd noise, but you don't make much of, I guess, reactions unless it's a whole stadium thing kind of going on.
It was the entire left side of us, which obviously involved the Nashville fans who proved that Nashville fans are up there with Charlotte fans in terms of, class and everything like that. But it seemed like something's coming from the supporter section. Mm-hmm. A little bit there, so I heard it from all over. That's why it was loud enough to where homeboy, the district something, whatever, the dude that looks like he actually cares about soccer.
Francisco.
He had to mention something.
Moya. Yeah, so he had to say something during their speech in the stadium, and then actually right prior to that, Trey from Blue Balls was trying to work with the NYCFC communications team to move us away from the pack of rabid Nashville fans that were right behind us, just with the thought of the interview questions audio quality not being drained out by them just being absolute losers, honestly.
Yeah,
I mean, just annoying. I don't know how Secret Service works, if that's like a mayor and a president thing, but they definitely had a guy with one of those fancy ear mics with the little swirl go over and have a conversation with the guy that appeared to be the leader of the Nashville fans, and they were not making noise after that. Yeah. So I'm not sure what was said, but it was effective, to say the least.
So, I mean, it was effective until a 14-year-old started yelling at him, and then he lost cool again.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that obviously a cool experience. And then the game that unfolded, I feel, probably again one of the best halves of soccer that we've had in the first half. There were a number of standout performers from the team. Whether it's Keaton or Alenich, I thought Talles looked good too. And of course, man of the match Ledesma. Some conversation to come around him once we get into kind of post-game talk. We did have the opportunity to get into the locker room. I think first time that we've taken that on. Typically, you kind of have to choose between the Cushing presser or the locker room, and we elected for the first time to check out the locker room. We thought we would nut up and head in there. And it was a cool experience. And again, to have that conversation with Ledesma was interesting. And to see, I guess, the side of some of the guys that we don't typically see otherwise. Like Alenich to me. Alenich to me is like, I have a whole newfound...
Oh, I love that dude.
...understanding of him.
I love that dude.
Yeah. And anybody doing the podcast circuit this week and listening to everything, if you hear screaming in the background of any interview questions that Keaton is giving or that Ledesma's giving or Sands,
Anybody.
you will just hear an insane person screaming in the background, and that is a Lenich.
Yeah. Well, we were all trying to interview, basically crowd Ledesma. Not to jump into post game right away, but he was acting an animal in the background of all of that.
Yeah.
If it wasn't the music that you're gonna hear, it's gonna be a Lenich. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, to the game, it was really. I thought that we would come out really fast. I thought that we would try to make a statement quick. I think that Cushing would have us prepared for, an opener, the second opener, but the first opener after learning that this is going to be our new home. And you hit it right on the head when everybody in the stadium kind of had that idea that this is home. Like, this is the feeling. Mm-hmm. This is what games are going to be like. When you're interacting with some of the people that were working there, they're probably going to be the similar people that are working in our stadium and around the stadium. So interacting with them, everyone just was so nice, and it really felt like a family environment. Not like Six Flags, but like everyone felt like they were a part of a family. Yeah. And obviously,
and they packed that thing out, honestly.
Yeah, I was worried, honestly.
Yeah.
At first, I was worried because we got there pretty early. We probably sat there for an hour before kickoff, at least. And when we started seeing people trickle in, it looked real slow for a bit. And I was concerned because I really wanted us to come out and represent and show that we could fill Queens when it is time for the stadium. And I was real worried for a bit, but then it got packed out. I'm pretty close to sellout.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, too, like, 20,000 feels so much different in Citi Field than it does in Yankees. Just the sheer size of the size difference. I mean,
even like we said, we walked around the entire.
We were searching for that Krispy Kreme waffle donut shop. Still to this day, we didn't find it.
But we walked around the entire stadium in 10 minutes.
I think it was 10 minutes. Yeah.
Or less.
I mean, we've gone for food before kickoff for Yankee Stadium, and we're like doing the lap around the whole thing. Yeah. Like, by the time you get back in your seats, it's like 15th minute. Yeah. And you're like, oh, okay, we've missed a goal already.
Or we're here in the celebrations.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was nice. I hope that our stadium is similar in that regard, and that some of the things are stolen for our stadium, like the home plate cafe, or what was it called?
Home plate market.
Home plate market. Yeah. That'd be super cool to have a callback to kind of where we've been in the stadium. To have something baseball related, or some banter related to that would be awesome.
And I think this week they're doing some kind of survey for the city members. Obviously, no idea what it's going to look like, but I think it'll be interesting for us to.
I'm sure it'll get shared.
Give our opinions, and everybody to give their opinions. I hope they take all of it, and use it, and it's not just we want to take your opinions and seem like the good guys. But that'll be a great thing, and obviously, I mean, we haven't even talked about how the construction and design company got picked. Seems to be a pretty good design company in Hawk. They obviously made the Mercedes-Benz Superdome where Atlanta and the Falcons play. They've done renovations for the San Antonio Spurs and the Miami Dolphins, among, like, I don't know, they built arenas in, like, Dubai with the Etihad, all types of different stuff like that. And then I think the construction company, I mean, they're kind of just getting the plans and they're told build it. But a part of projects like SoFi, the new, I guess, $1 billion, maybe more than $1 billion stadium in LA. So I feel good that we're in good hands at the moment.
I mean, my wish list is pretty short. Mm-hmm. I want, like I said, callbacks to baseball stadiums, whether that's
at least
home
one.
Plate market or something along that lines. As you can tell, I enjoy food. I'm hoping that the food selection is good, that they actually put some thought into it, and it's not just concession type. I like, if you've ever been to an LA Galaxy game, I think that they do it the best, personally, because it's essentially you have your concession stands, but then there's just a row of the best food trucks you've ever had in your life. Mm-hmm. And I think New York can rival that and be the LA Galaxy type atmosphere that's out there. So that's on my list. We need an open section of the stadium that shows the subway or the train going by. I guess it's not subway, it would be a train.
Yeah.
Because it's not sub.
It's not underground.
But just show the train going by, because I just think that adds so much flavor to the stadium.
Well, it calls back to Yankee Stadium, too. Right. You have that section behind the big
Right.
board where you can see it run, and it's just
Exactly.
it adds like an environment, like a lot of times when you have, especially in Yankee Stadium with all the tiers that are, I mean, you don't even know you're in New York City. You can't
Right.
see a skyscraper, above the third tier seating. But it reminds you that you're still in the city, and
Right.
it's nice to have those touches.
Yeah, and so that's really my wish. I don't think I'm forgetting anything.
I think one like non-negotiable for me is like we need to have one of those things where when the players are walking out, there's some kind of underground VIP lounge or restaurant. I think City has it at the Etihad in Manchester, where it's all like one-way glass. So like you see all of the players and the refs kind of like coming onto the field. That to me just feels like such a cool experience. A lot of times you don't have the opportunity to get like so close to players. So.
Right. Well, and I feel like our players and our club they do such a good job of interacting with the fans that do stand out there and wait. Like when we were leaving, we saw Talas, GP, Jason,
Just hanging around.
Just literally like just chopping it up, talking to fans and signing stuff and being there. I think that we need to have the similar parking situation, or keep it to where the players are still accessible because they want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's clear that it's built into the culture that they want to be close to the fans and things like that. So we definitely need something like that. Yeah,
that'll be big. Hopefully you can maintain the same atmosphere too. I think it lended well to us during the actual game. My vibe kind of going into the game was, for some reason, I feel like we have the mentality of like the fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. Like we're not going to get beat by a team
that's the thing.
that recently beat us.
They didn't beat us. We drew.
Well, no, week one.
Week one we drew,
I thought we lost 2-0.
Did we?
I think we lost 2-0 week one. Maybe we tied.
I could be fully blasted.
I have no clue. Maybe we have to check. But
I know Mukhtar came on and scored.
Yeah. Were we up at any point in that game?
I don't know if we scored even. Now I'm fully lost.
Nashville, NYCFC.
It's going to show the last one.
So that was 2-1.
I want to know because I had kind of had this feeling going in that,
2-0.
Okay, we did lose 2-0. Jesus.
Yeah, it was a bad.
What was I
It was a bad day because I remember Chanot gave up. I mean, let's not put it on his head, but he obviously had an incredible game this week. But in the first game, he played that, or he tried to clear that ball and it like fell right to the dude. Barraza makes that insane save, but it falls to the guy again, and then
I'm blasted.
Mukhtar just comes in and sprints the length of the field after a hack giveaway, and we had to defend his honor in the first episode of the season like we've never done before.
Yes.
And now here we are, week 8. In saying that a fourth of the season has flown by, if that's the math.
I felt this strange confidence going into the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I needed to, because I was afraid of the past in Citi Field, that just feeling how great it was and then it very quickly not feeling great anymore inside. But yeah, I was happy the way that we came out strong. I was happy with the way that we battled. It did get hairy at the end, and I think that was a lot to do with, I think we do a lot of defending of Nick Cushing, and I do believe he's the guy. He's the guy that we should stick with for as long as he'll stay, at least for now. But I don't really, I don't love the substitution decisions towards the end. Mm-hmm. But look, at the end of the day, we squeaked out the 3 points, and you can't really complain.
Yeah, and I think, as much as it comes to not liking the substitutions, what we have to love, I think, is the starting lineup that was rolled out there. We've been joking around for the last 3 weeks here that Cushing must be tuning into the show, because I think 3 episodes ago, well, I'm not going to take credit for this one because the entire NYCFC community has been calling for Talas to be removed from the striker position. But obviously Segal gets his go 3 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, we talk about how GP probably needs a rest. He's rested against New England, comes in, scores his assist. And then a week ago, I think that the title of our episode was Santi out, Richie in. And then, just that happens in this lineup. And it was probably, in my opinion, the roster selection defining moment of the game was Ledesma getting that start. He obviously gets his man of the match. He gets his first assist, 2 off the corner to an insane Chanot scissor kick. I don't think anybody had that on their bingo card going into the game.
I loved the clip of Cushing with part of his speech saying,
I will tell you though, this is what I believe in football. Some days, you know it's going to be a good day. And when Chanot scores a scissor volley from a corner, you know you're going to have a good day. Boys, it's a good performance.
He believes that there's just good days in football, and when Chanot is scoring a scissor kick off a volley, it's going to be a good day.
Yeah.
Which I thought was hilarious. But yeah, I think it was just so refreshing to see somebody so lively at the 10. Properly scanning, getting players, involved in the play, but when there wasn't somebody to play, just taking advantage of the space that's given to you. It's kind of like he almost played the 10 as if he was a point guard in basketball, where he wasn't, at some points there wasn't a pass to be had, so he just dribbled and ran towards a goal, and that was enough to create space. And I think that's just an edge that he has athletically that Santi just can't really do that. You saw Santi try. I mean, granted, now we have the knowledge that he had some sort of knock.
Hamstring,
so,
I think.
In terms of judging his explosiveness, I'm not going to try to do that after an injury, but he definitely didn't look as explosive as Ledesma did. And he was really good at just picking his head up, seeing that there's space, and sprinting into it. I think that's something that we miss with a lot of our players outside of like GP.
Yeah, and I think, probably one of the most valuable parts of the night for us was after that man of the match performance, we had the chance to touch base with him in the locker room. You got to talk to him one-on-one.
Which I'm happy he was as nervous to talk to us that we were to talk to him.
Yeah.
I think we're both sitting there like, wow, this is wild.
Right.
Like, we're doing this.
Well, and we talked about that afterwards too, because it was funny, to get your first start and to get the man of the match. Probably nobody has come up to you since you joined the team.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you have 9 mics, 5 cameras, and 11 press members in your face.
And then your teammate in the background, like,
yeah,
obviously giving it to you.
Just, Alenich, just, hyping up the moment for what it is.
Yeah.
But I think, some of the questions that you asked and then obviously that he answered as well were like, I guess, really insightful for not only the way that Cushing, how he tactically advises Ledesma, but then also kind of the thoughts that Ledesma has when he's on the field.
Right. Were you surprised tonight after all of the space that they were able to give you that you were able to exploit?
To be honest, yeah, I was a bit surprised. I mean, I feel like, changing up the lineup in our team, made them maybe rethink of, I haven't played a game in, 4 months, started a game, so maybe that happened and it was a smart decision from the coach. I mean, I have no idea. I mean, they talk about tactics of behind our backs, they have to figure out the tactics, so I have no idea, man. So
was it something that the coach talked about that there would be space, or was it something just on your own that you found?
I mean, he just told me just to be in the pocket and just wait for the ball to come, and that's what I did tonight. And the ball came to me a lot of the times, and I was able to turn my way out of situations and dribble, take space, and create chances. And I feel like I give props to the coach, giving me that confidence in being in the pocket and receiving the ball and turning. So yeah.
Perfect. Do you think going forward that it gives you confidence?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, my teammates give me confidence every day, so. Just as long as we keep working together, and we can be a big team in the MLS. So yeah,
definitely. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Well, it was a lot of just kind of like, I was surprised that they allowed me to have so much space, and when you're somebody that as dangerous as Ledesma has shown to be, when somebody's giving you that space and you can go ahead and attack it, he was doing the same type of things that Mukhtar does on the other side.
Yeah.
Which is just, if you're going to sit back and back off of me, I'm going to keep running at you. I'm not going to shy away. He didn't seem scared. He didn't seem like the moment was too big. I think he said in the answer that, he's been waiting to play, so he's gonna play.
Yeah.
And work as hard as he can. So, yeah, it was interesting to kind of get that off of our back and speak to a player and kind of ask him a question directly in the locker room and after a game. So, at some point we're gonna play.
Yeah, we'll weave it in there somewhere.
Yeah.
But then I think also interestingly, there were a couple of questions we touched base with. I think at the Pigeons on Twitter. A lot of you probably know them, but we touched base with him because he went to the presser when we were in the locker room. And I guess there were some interesting quotes from Cushing. He mentioned how his man of the match was Sands, who he said was an absolute 10 out of 10, which I think was another surprising part of the lineup that we didn't even talk about. I think a lot of us expected him to be out.
Yeah, I think I flat out predicted he wouldn't be there.
Mm-hmm. And I think maybe the call up to the national team had us all feeling better, but we definitely didn't feel that he would be in the starting lineup, and then to go out and look the way that he did was obviously very helpful. I think we talked about last episode when we're playing without Sands, it's almost like we're down a man. So the value that he brings to the team is huge, and it was obviously even above the performance that we saw from Ledesma or some of the other guys that I think Alenich and Ledesma for me were probably the two men of the match. So to see Cushing put Sands up on that pedestal is like a whole it's kind of not exactly what we thought.
Yeah, if I had to do a tier list, it'd be Ledesma, Alenich, Sands, and Tallis would be my top four.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of impact, what Tallis did.
Chanot. I think
Thiago's played every minute of every game for us. He's been a warrior.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't even begin to start praising him. I think we have to not allow him to fall into this role of not being talked about and not being appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's been a dog for us. He's been so good. He's played every minute. He's taking care of his body. He's making sure that he's there for us.
Yep.
And I love that for him.
Yeah,
so
he's taking care of business, honestly.
Yeah,
like
he's just
quietly,
being a businessman.
Quiet assassin.
But yeah, I mean, Tala's what he did in the corner to unknowingly assist Alenich's assist.
Yeah.
Where you can even see Tallis in the replay telling him to slow down before he plays the best ball he's ever played for us. Which had he listened, then maybe we're talking about a whole different game here. But
right. And Keaton gets his first goal this season. I feel like it's something about Citi Field. When I was last there, I think he had a goal and an assist last season. In I think it was like the 5-goal game that we had with Hey Bear and Tati and everything.
Yeah, fun one.
But it's good. It's obviously good to get Keaton going. I loved the baby Selly afterwards.
Yeah.
A special moment, especially to open the game. For him, especially a guy who a lot of us preseason talked about how he was going to be one of the key players, that if he has an outstanding season, then NYCFC will have an outstanding season. So kind of kickstarting that engine now. Hopefully he's going to build on it. I think generally he looked pretty good throughout the game. Did his job essentially and got the goal, but didn't hurt us, I think, in some of the ways that a lot of people have called out in past weeks. So better from him.
Definitely, and I think if he was to have heard any critics last week, he definitely responded.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, huge to get his first goal of the season. Huge. I bet he's been waiting for that celebration all year. So for him to be able to get that off and kind of just focus on playing is awesome. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy for Lenz getting his second assist, which he had to correct you.
He did have to correct me, yeah.
He corrected you.
We were heading out of the locker room. And
yeah.
Well, so this is like the thing about this kid is so we already touched on.
He was just around.
He's screaming in the back of every interview. When he does get an interview, he's the most excited person that whoever is talking to him. And then as they're kind of all the players are exiting out of the locker room and all the media is leaving as well, he's just standing at the door, holding it open, dapping up every single person that walks through the door. Have a good night, great game tonight, all that different stuff. And then I told him, congrats on your first assist. I was thinking of Ledesma. He goes, it was my second assist. And I was like, you know what? You're right. And I was actually at Gillette to see it too. So, you know, he had to set me straight.
Yeah, but I did tell him it was the best one.
Yeah.
Because it was, in my opinion, the
It
best
may be
one so
tough.
far.
It may be tough to top that one for the rest of the year.
In terms of the total play, yeah, it's going to be tough. Especially, you know, just to even see Keaton's run. Because when you're watching the replay, you almost don't even see Keaton's run until it's the end product. So amazing goal there. That really got the crowd going at that point. And at that point, there was some rowdy Nashville fans that were only beginning to you know, have the despair of the night of losing. So they were chirping at some 14-year-olds who somehow inspired the entire section of like 300, 400 people to chant Nashville sucks.
Yeah.
Which was awesome to see. But it was literally started by like 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
All in that section.
I mean, the 12-year-olds were living rent free.
They got
and the Nashville fans had it. Specifically, one of them was losing his cool. I think at some point the concessions peoples had to cut him off, or they should have if they didn't, had to cut him off the beer, because, you know, when you're that animated towards teenagers, it's a different. I don't know. If I paid $600, I would have come to NYC or you know. I mean, maybe if they drove
see my
team get smacked.
I feel bad for them.
Yeah.
Like, you drove 13 hours, watch your team lose, and then got trolled by 12 and 13-year-olds.
Yeah.
That's a tough night.
Although we probably, before wrapping it up, we probably should touch on the second half where, you know, those Nashville fans did have a little bit of a leg to stand on. I think, you know, you said it earlier, you weren't in love with the substitutions that were made. I wasn't either. I think at a point, you know, Kufre picked up a knock, so they took him off. They take off Alenich, they put Tavon in. They take off Ledesma, they put Santi in, and I'm just feeling like it's our 2021 team. There's no more new transfers. Nobody that wasn't on the team last year coming in, and I felt, which is weird because, you know, we looked good at times with that team, but I didn't feel confident, especially after they get the goal off the back of, you know, Tavon just honestly getting spun around. I think it came off his hand and it falls to Mukhtar, which is unlucky.
No, that was the one that got called off.
Oh, yeah.
So that one got called off where, you know, Tavon got spun. But
there's a few spinnings.
But the one with the one that actually counted was Mukhtar absolutely slotting it. Nothing that, you know, anyone could really do about it. I don't remember if there was a dispossession that was particularly bad in the lead up.
No, I think I don't want to give him credit because we're not the biggest Zimmerman supporters here, but I'm pretty sure Zimmerman plays it down their left wing, and Tavon got spun for a second time, and the ball gets played to top of the box to Mukhtar, and then like you said, when you have that man.
Right. It was a perfect shot. And yeah, it seemed
it did feel a little bit unravelly at moment.
Right. No, I do think that the substitutions completely unraveled everything. In my head, I was thinking, wow, this is such a good performance from this team, and it was so bold to start some of these players, specifically Ledesma, and you know, obviously you're without Matty, so it's not a big thing to bench him, but he had played a lot of minutes up to that point.
Yep.
So you're playing without all these guys. To me, I had the feeling that, look, if we're playing this well, you reward these guys by giving them the full 90, unless they're dead tired or you're, you know, Kufre, he's injured.
Yep.
That's different. I just figured, yeah, you give them the full 90 and let them go until they can't anymore.
Yeah.
That they've earned that at this point.
Yeah, it did. It felt a bit like the DC United game where we're up 2-0, and at halftime we're texting each other or we're talking about, oh, this is a statement game.
Right.
And then we come out of the half and, you know, in the case of DC, we just played much worse. In this case, the subs came in and kind of deflated the whole thing. But it felt a lot like that, and I was worried Nashville might be walking out of there with a point. So luckily that wasn't the case. I'm not sure our plans for the weekend. I know great experience at Citi Field, so potentially making it out to the FC Dallas game. For me, the only thing behind it is I guess we have a 4-game away stretch after FC Dallas, which just seems insane. I mean, doesn't feel legal
I feel like they do that to us all the time.
To have a month straight of away games. Just, it doesn't feel legal to fans or to the players to have to go through all that traveling. We're gonna have to see how it goes. A lot of the teams are not doing the best early on, so maybe we could squeak away with something. And then I'm not sure if it's gonna be the next game back at home, but the first game after that away game stretch is gonna be Philly at home, on my birthday weekend too. So
I think we're probably,
who knows what that's gonna look like. But hopefully we're gonna build some confidence against some of those teams that are off to a slow start on the away stretch, because obviously first game against Philly this season, especially in the Bronx, it's gonna get rowdy for sure. So the boys, the boys are gonna have to be prepared for that one emotionally and everything.
And it's only, it's probably, Philly is only like 3 hours away, 4 hours.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that they're gonna show up.
Some fans, yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be a cool game to go to, but it depends, obviously, with what we're doing and everything like that. For the
my hands are clean. I'm not a part of it, I guess. I don't know if you have made. You said you had something prepared.
Oh no,
yeah. So
something crazy's coming, but you don't know anything about that. It's nothing related to planning, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, nothing related to that.
I have no clue. And on the topic of birthdays, have to shout it out. First episode with the rings, couple years late here from the boys. We're procrastinators.
I'm actually wearing the shirt from the playoff run.
Yeah.
That they gave us
I think Atlanta against Atlanta.
The Atlanta game.
The playoff game, yeah. Had to hook the guy up over here with championship ring for his birthday last week, and then couldn't have one in the cart. couldn't just have one in the cart. Couldn't just have one host with a ring. So, had to do what it takes. Hopefully more.
It feels good.
It feels right. It feels heavy.
It does. Like every time, I wish I had this in Charlotte.
Oh,
for
yeah.
That guy, the guy at Baker Mayfield.
Well, you were giving him the imaginary one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that'll do it for 97. Hopefully FC Dallas, not to look past them, but I don't know if I know a player on their team, or Jesus Ferreira probably. It's the only one. Yeah. But
decent player I've heard.
But what is he doing lately? I think he scored a goal, but
I don't know. Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
I know Old Trafford was one of the best games I've watched in a long time.
That was a good one. So that's that, maybe catch us at Citi Field, maybe not. But definitely catch us, next week, episode 98. Things are feeling good in the blue neighborhood.
Yeah, especially because it does seem like Nick Cushing is listening and taking the advice of the experts. And I feel like the pat on the shoulder that he gave me was like, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Like, thanks.
Good episode last week.
Good episode, but also thanks for the lineup advice.
Yeah.
And do you have any for next week, maybe? But he had to go somewhere.
Yeah. Well, he had a press conference.
He had a press
Very
conference.
busy man.
Busy.
So at Post90Pod, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
Everywhere you get a thing.
That's about it. Yeah.
You can find us there.
Yeah, and that Spotify and that Apple Podcast for audio only. So apologies for some of we are a video podcast first, unfortunately. So, the whole thing about the rings, we don't even think about you guys sometimes when we're recording, and that's on us. But we appreciate.
That's really because we have the faces for radio.
Correct.
And the voices for podcasts.
Right, we're not hitting it on any level.
Like the City Boys, I would say that they're more like they've got the faces for YouTube, and the voices for.
You're saying they're pretty.
I mean,
in less specific words.
I mean, if we were like ranking
podcasts,
like we were ranking podcasts on visuals.
Yeah.
I mean, like they're not last.
Yeah.
So.
But you're saying we are.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that'll do it for 97.
I guess.
Ending way too many episodes talking about other guys lately.
There ain't nothing wrong with that.
No, there is not. We'll see you guys later.
Peace.